The cabin rested where the land seemed to forget itself, standing alone against a horizon so wide it felt endless. Built from rough cut logs hauled from distant trees, its walls bore the scars of weather and labor, splintered edges, darkened knots, and seams sealed with clay pressed in by hand. The roof sagged slightly under the memory of many winters, and the chimney leaned just enough to show that nothing built on the frontier ever stood untouched by time. Around it stretched the prairie, vast and breathing, rising and falling in gentle swells of grass that whispered constantly beneath the open sky. This land offered beauty without mercy. Summer burned it dry, winter froze it hard, and storms crossed it without warning. Yet it was here that Clara Whitfield had grown, shaped by the same forces that shaped the soil beneath her feet. At 12 years old, she carried herself with a quiet gravity uncommon to childhood. Her movements were careful, her gaze observant, as though she understood that every moment was temporary and every season carried consequence. Inside the cabin, light filtered through a single window, softened by thin cloth stretched across the glass. Dust drifted slowly in its path, settling onto the wooden table where Clara sat. The table had been built by her father years earlier, its surface smoothed by meals, tools, and time. It bore scratches from knives, dents from dropped utensils, and dark stains left by countless labors. This was where life happened, where stories were lived even when none were spoken. Before Clara lay a stretched piece of cloth, pale and waiting. It reminded her of freshly turned earth before planting, empty, expectant, vulnerable. And in her hand, she held a brush fashioned from animal hair tied carefully to a worn stick. The colors beside her were few, but each had been gathered with effort. Berries crushed for red, clay mixed for brown, ash darkened for shadow. These pigments came from the same land that had tested her family, and they carried its truth. As the brush touched the cloth, the present slowly gave way to memory. The first image formed was a wagon, heavy and burdened, its boards rough and scarred by miles of travel. The wheels appeared stiff and unforgiving, made to endure stone, mud, and dust rather than smooth roads. Beneath them rose a faint haze of earth, stirred endlessly by movement forward. The wagon leaned slightly, as if even in stillness it remembered the strain of motion. Oxen took shape at the front, their bodies broad and patient, their heads lowered in quiet obedience. They were creatures built for endurance, not speed, mirroring the pace of those who followed behind. Around them stretched a narrow trail cutting through the land, a fragile mark against the vastness, winding forward toward an unseen future while disappearing behind into all that had been left behind. Figures emerged along the trail, adults walking with measured steps, their faces marked by sun and fatigue, their eyes fixed on the horizon. Children followed, smaller and slower, their posture already shaped by responsibility, their feet pressed into dust and mud alike, leaving prints quickly erased by wind and rain, as though the land itself resisted being marked. The sky darkened as the journey deepened. Clouds gathered thick and heavy, spilling rain that turned the trail into a struggle. Wheels sank, boots stuck, and progress slowed to near stillness. A broken wheel lay abandoned beside the road, a symbol of how fragile even the strongest preparation could be. Hunger and exhaustion settled into the figures, hollowing cheeks and bending shoulders. Near the edge of the trail, the land rose slightly, disturbed by human hands. A small grave appeared, marked by a wooden cross, roughly shaped and uneven. It leaned toward the earth, already surrendering to time. Beside it, a single wildflower grew, fragile yet defiant. The painting lingered there, allowing loss to remain visible, refusing to hide the cost of the journey. The land shifted again, opening into a clearing. Trees stood nearby, and the work of beginning anew filled the space. Men lifted heavy logs, their muscles strained, hands raw from splinters and rope. Each log found its place slowly, deliberately, guided by cooperation rather than ease. Smoke rose from nearby fires where meals were prepared, thin and uncertain yet alive. Women moved steadily through the space, tending pots, mending cloth, carrying children on tired hips. Children worked alongside them, gathering sticks, hauling water, learning early that survival demanded contribution from everyone. From these efforts, a cabin rose, not graceful, but strong, its walls shaped by need and hope rather than comfort. Around the cabin, daily life unfolded. Fields were cleared with stubborn persistence, roots pulled, stones moved, soil turned. Seeds were planted carefully, each one placed with the understanding that failure could mean hunger. A scarecrow stood watch over the young crops, dressed in worn clothing, its silent presence guarding the fragile promise of sustenance. Laundry hung from lines stretched between posts, pale fabric lifting and falling with the wind. Tools rested where hands paused but never truly stopped working. Inside the cabin, a spinning wheel waited patiently, its presence a reminder that nothing on the frontier was wasted. A Bible lay open on a shelf, its pages softened by use, offering comfort during long nights. A single candle burned against the darkness, its flame small but stubborn. Beyond the cabin, neighbors gathered when needed, drawn together by necessity rather than choice. Barns were raised through shared labor, harvests completed by many hands. Though each family stood alone against the land, they survived through quiet unity. Then winter arrived, fierce and unrelenting. Snow fell thick and heavy, burying fields, erasing paths, silencing the land. The cabin sank into white drifts, its outlines softened, its walls pressed by cold. Smoke rose weakly from the chimney, a thin sign of life against the emptiness. The wind swept across the plains without pause, testing every seam and joint. Inside, figures huddled close together, wrapped in blankets worn thin by use. Food grew scarce, and each meal was measured carefully. Nights stretched long beneath skies stripped of warmth, and mornings demanded resolve simply to rise and continue. The land outside offered no comfort, only endurance. Slowly, the grip of winter loosened. Snow melted into narrow streams that carved paths through the soil. Dark earth reappeared, and from it came fragile green shoots pushing upward with quiet determination. Birds returned to the sky, their movement signaling renewal. The sun lingered longer, warming both ground and spirit. Fields were planted again, fences repaired, tools lifted once more. Flowers bloomed near the creek, small yet vivid, marking survival rather than ease. The cabin remained weathered but standing, holding within its walls the memory of every hardship endured and every hope sustained. When the painting finally reached its end, it held more than scenes. It carried the full weight of a pioneer life, journey and loss, labor and endurance, despair and renewal. It told a story not of conquest but of persistence, not of comfort but of courage shaped quietly through daily effort. Time moved on beyond the moment of creation. The painting traveled from place to place, eventually resting where others could study it. Children stood before it, tracing the path of the wagon, the rise of the cabin, the silence of winter, and the return of spring. Without words, they learned what the frontier demanded and what it gave in return. The painting remained still, yet its story endured, preserving the truth of pioneer life, reminding every generation that a nation was built not only through grand events, but through ordinary people who chose to endure an unforgiving land and call it home.